Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe from multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines and many other sectors.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is Market Today. Also with me is Shail Bhatnagar on the show. Now, as far as the last week's action on stock markets is concerned, barring Monday's blip, the last week really turned out to be a good one for the markets. The Nifty reported another weekly advance. Another good bit is that the fact that the Nifty really closed above the 22,000 mark for the very first time in a month's time. The last time it had done so was on January 16. The question is that will this Nifty sustain this move and retest its all-time high levels in this new week, especially when there is a weak global handover? We will tell you all of it, but first up, the top headlines this hour. Indian stocks are likely to gain further strength on Monday as strong buying momentum over the last 4 sessions induces bulls. A record high is within sight. Broader markets are in fine shape. Traders are back into their old favorites, PSU stocks, and investors are now betting on newer, fresher horses to drive markets higher. Caution is advised on the long side. Very good morning to all our viewers joining us this morning, and very good morning to you, Shail, as well. Just like how I pointed out, in the week gone by, the Nifty, barring Monday, closed around the highest point of the day. And in fact, it was Friday's move that also put the index just within that 80 points of the February 2nd high of 22,000, 126 that we have actually seen. Tell me, are we looking at this higher high being achieved even if we do not have the global market support?
A very good morning to you, Sakshi.
A very good morning to you, Sakshi.
A warm welcome to thousands of viewers who are now joining us regularly early morning on Market Today. Yes, there might be a tepid handover from Wall Street, but that is not preventing
us from scaling new highs on the Nifty at least. And there are very good reasons as far as that is concerned. If you look at how the structure of the Nifty is, the daily chart is presented for our viewers. As you can see, and Sakshi has really pointed out, that over the last 4 trading sessions, you've seen the index end successively in the green. But what's really good is that if you total this all up, the Nifty rose 1.8% all of last week, and 4 out of 5 sessions were in the favor of bulls. Now, this buying momentum, Sakshi, is reflecting very, very well on the Nifty options chain. Let me tell you what are the stocks that are sort of leading this rally. All of last week, it was the interest rate sensitives that led this wonderful momentum. So you have the entire auto pack, record highs on M&M, Bajaj Auto, Maruti, as well as to some extent even Tata Motors. So all these 4 stocks were doing phenomenally well.
Right.
Phenomenally well. And we see a very, very strong uptrend coming in as far as the Nifty's option chain is concerned. I had mentioned the fact that it looks very, very bullish. There is a lot of ITM covering that's happening across the board within the Nifty options chain, and a very, very strong support at 22,000, at 21,900, as also an extremely strong support at 21,850. So any dip towards 21,950, 21,800, even 850 if possible, those should be purchased with both hands, and we see this momentum continuing. Sakshi, you mentioned that this is a 1 month high as well. Absolutely right. The 22,124 number, which is the record high on the Nifty, was seen on 15th, 16th of January, and we have that in sight. Let's see how far it takes to reach that, but for the moment the mood is fairly strong. Sakshi.
Absolutely, Chair. Now, as far as the Nifty Bank is concerned, well, that has been the weaker index among the two indices when we see the last 4 or 5 weeks of trade. Also, a bigger gash last Monday when we actually saw both the benchmark indices along with Nifty Bank crashing. But since then, the good part is that the Nifty Bank index has also seen at least 4 days of gains, and it has also recovered 1750 points from Monday's low of 44,633 as well. So that's the level that we are now looking at. Where do you see the Nifty Bank headed now that at least slight bit of support is also coming in from the private banks along with the PSU banks?
Okay, Sakshi, if you look at the Bank Nifty construction, it also rose for the last 4 sessions in a row. And what is really exciting is that it is now above all small major DMAs, and at the moment the highest since February of 2nd. Now, what is really interesting beyond this is, Sakshi, that if you see the weekly gain, it was to the extent of something like 3.1% on the Bank Nifty. And I was looking at the contributions. So one good thing, Sakshi, that's happening is that slowly but surely people are sort of forgetting about HDFC Bank. So its weightage in the Bank Nifty is definitely the highest, but it is slipping lower, just as State Bank of India is now gaining momentum. You will be surprised, actually pleasantly surprised to know, I was looking at data for all of last week. The top banking stock in terms of gainer is Federal Bank, 12% higher, record high. PNB at about a 5-6 year high, 10%, 10.1%. Bank of Baroda record high, 7.8%, and SBI record high, 6.8%. So people are slowly but surely taking away their attention from HDFC Bank, from ICICI Bank, Kotak Bank, and Axis Bank, and they are focusing on the entire PSU pack within the Bank Nifty as also outside. So that is the zone, and that is the intensity of the buying as far as Bank Nifty is concerned. As I said, the trend here is also up, and the index is above all major moving averages. What I look forward to is the options chain. It is not as bullish as it is for the Nifty. Nevertheless, you have very, very strong put writing happening at 46,300, 46,000 in itself is a very, very strong support level. Let me give you some additional data on Bank Nifty options chain. We saw a fairly distinct and very strong covering of short positions in the ITM calls. That's a big plus. And if you see the support at 46,000 is an additional writing of about 5,31,900 puts, and the overall open interest is at 24,97,000 puts. This is the highest. So any dip towards 46,000 intraday, Sakshi, is an opportunity to go long on the Bank Nifty.
Okay, got that. As far as the Bank Nifty is concerned, these are the points that we'll remember. But what about the F&O space, Shail? Any particular stocks on your radar today?
Sakshi, we would remain with interest rate sensitives, and that means the auto space, definitely Bajaj Auto. Like I mentioned last time, it had changed a digit. Now it is at 8,300 in futures. Very, very strong uptick happening in the open interest, 7.5% higher. And of course, the price is at a record high. So this is the top favorite as far as the F&O space is concerned. We will also look at within the auto space at TVS Motors, again record high. The open interest here is very, very strong, 11.7% higher. The counter, of course, has crossed the 2100 mark in futures, and up 2.4% on Friday's trade. So autos, specifically two-wheelers, and of course a very, very strong buying happening in the pharma space. Therefore, Biocon, the counter shot up yesterday in Friday's trade, 4.6% higher, and this was accompanied by a drop in open interest, which essentially means that a lot of short covering is happening. So I would stick to Bajaj, TVS Motors and Biocon on the long side, Sakshi, as far as data is concerned, on technicals as well as on the options space. Sakshi.
Okay, so we will keep an eye out on the entire auto pack, including Bajaj Auto and TVS Motors, the two-wheeler stocks that we will continue to focus on today. Let's look at what the global handover is. We've got a weak handover from Wall Street. The benchmark indices snapped a 5-week gaining streak. Another hot inflation report on Friday really sent the stocks tumbling on Wall Street. So you had the S&P 500 that fell about 0.5%. The Dow fell about 150 points. The Nasdaq also shed about 0.8% in trade. The tech heavy index underperformed for the week, ending 1.5% lower as well. And this has also put off any hopes of a potential rate cut coming in March, but also stoked uncertainty that the rate cut may not arrive as early as anticipated as well. So that's a bit of a dampener. Now, looking at this handover, the Asian shares also got off to a slow start today. Looking at fading chances of early rate cuts globally. That soured the mood in the early morning trade, even though investors are hoping that China markets to return from holiday with the spring in their step two. A holiday for the US markets has also now made a thin trading, while the latest surge in tech stocks is all set to be tested by results from AI, Diva, Nvidia on Wednesday as well. So that's going to be important to watch. So the MSCI's broadest index of Asia Pacific shares outside of Japan, they edged up higher by 0.2%. After bouncing 2% last week. Japan's Nikkei was flat after having surged 4% last week to stop just short of its all-time high level. The trends in the GIFT Nifty indicate a positive start for the broader index in India with a gain of about 52 odd points. So we are looking at a positive start today. As far as the flows are also concerned, you had both the foreign and the domestic investors that were net buyers in the cash markets on Friday. So the FIIs bought about 253 odd crore rupees of shares of the Indian markets. Domestic institutional investors purchased 1,571 crore rupees worth of stocks as well. So that's the kind of setup that we are looking at. Quickly, let's look at some of the stocks that we will be watching out today. Defense stocks could be in focus again, because the Defense Acquisition Council has cleared acquisition proposals worth 84,560 crores to boost capabilities in the armed forces and the Indian Coast Guard. The proposals include new generation anti-tank mines, air defense tactical control radar, etc. So these are going to be important to track. The power stocks could be in focus again. Especially Tata Power, that's got a letter of intent from RDC Power Development and Consultancy to acquire the Jalpura Khurja power transmission for 838 crores. NHPC has laid foundation stone of a 300 megawatt grid connected solar PV project in Rajasthan, which will be set up with an investment of 1732 crores. It will be commissioned by September of 2024. So that will also be in focus. Titagarh Rail Systems will be in focus again. It's again got an order from Ministry of Defense for procurement of 250 specialized wagons for nearly 170 crores. Bajaj Auto Cell is also looking out, and there is news flow that it has now fixed February 29 as the record date to determine the eligibility of the share buyback. That's going to be in focus again. Paytm. We will have to look at this one too. Paytm has, on the one hand, partnered with Axis Bank for escrow account to continue seamless merchant settlements, and this arrangement will replace the nodal account which was earlier used by the Paytm Payments Bank. Plus, there is an extension, 15 days odd, till March 15, when Paytm Payments Bank will continue to end its smooth operations and therefore not cause any jarring experiences for the existing merchants who continue to focus on the payments bank as well. So those are going to be in focus as per the stocks that are concerned. Let's now welcome our guest on the show, Chakri Lopriya. He's the managing partner at RSP LLP. He now joins in. Very good morning to you, Chakri. And thanks for joining us at the beginning of this new week again. Just like how I was pointing out in my introduction, it's the week global handover that now we have. The last week, especially towards the end of the last week, we had those positive moves in the markets, giving us that indication that an all-time high yet again is nearby us. Now that the weak global markets is also something that is emerging as a dampener, how do you see the Indian markets really pan out? Will we be good and enough by ourselves?
Good morning. Those are all good points. Clearly, the focus on public sector banks, public sector companies, I think that focus will continue to drive the market up. And so therefore, because the valuation-wise, the overall market is still very reasonable. And the earnings prospects are, because since they're improving, I think the market will continue its upward march.
A very good morning to you, Mr. Lopriya, and thank you for joining us on Market today. Let's look at how slowly but surely State Bank of India is now displacing HDFC Bank as the lead author of gains that we are seeing on Bank Nifty, even in the broader PSU banking basket. Your thoughts on SBI, where do you see it? It's already at a record high. And what are you advising clients to do, even on your own money, as far as the PSU banking basket is concerned?
Good morning, Shanendraji. I think absolutely, State Bank of India, in spite of all its run, is trading at under one-time book value on FY26 and beyond. So, yes. And for an ROA, which is excellent of the company, now the company has adequately capitalized. Its pre-provisioning profits have been strong. It has taken extra measures to take into account salary hikes. And so therefore, all on the cost side, it has more than adequately provided itself for. Second, on the spend, as far as the loan growth is concerned, it will be the prime beneficiary of all the growth award contracts of the railways, defense, etc., that we're seeing in the market. It will be one of the prime beneficiaries, and therefore this loan growth looks very strong. Against this backdrop, I think if you even value, and its ROE and ROA are at peak highs. So given all this, I think there's still a substantial upside at SBI from current levels. And Bank of India, Union Bank, and also look very strong among the mid-sized companies.
Okay. Well, Chakri, also wanted to ask you on Paytm, how would you really look at the new developments now? It's now partnering with the Axis Bank for an escrow account to ensure that there is smooth operations for its merchant bankers. There is an extension by the RBI for 15 odd days as well to smoothly shut the operations of Payments Bank. Do you think things are stabilizing or still there is a lot of uncertainty as far as the business model is concerned, and the way profitability will be driven at Paytm will continue to be one point that will keep investors away?
Paytm is okay for people with a high level of risk, and it is more a positional trade. And therefore, accordingly, investors have to choose. Given the uncertainty in its current business model, because, while the Axis Bank escrow account is some amount of concern, but the revenue model itself is now needs to be figured out, given that the various restrictions have been placed on the business, including companies like not organizations like NHAI not accepting payments for their toll gates, etc. All those things dampen the revenue model and therefore the profitability down the line. So then the question is, what is the number that an investor needs to base on to arrive at the valuation is still uncertain, therefore remain on the sidelines.
Mr. Lopriya, the other thing that is running beautifully in the market is this interest rate sensitive themes where at least a large part of the auto sector is hoping of a fairly decent cut in interest rate costs over the next 3 months, 6 months or so. Two-wheelers, four-wheelers are ablaze with gains. Ancillaries are doing fairly well. What would be your favorites in the auto space, and does it still merit an investment at these levels?
Absolutely, autos still look very good. If you look at their most recent earnings quarter, while managements have said that, the overall volume growth will come down, will be about 8-10%. So, but still the auto stocks have continued to rally. And I think this is on back of their future expansion plans. Companies like TVS Motors in the two-wheeler space are doing excellent work in their EV space and gaining market share. EV market shares, of course, is bound to continue to gain momentum over the years. Now, companies like Bajaj Auto, of course, they have a buyback plan, which is about 15% higher. Notwithstanding that, their underlying businesses itself, their various partnerships, both in the EV as in the traditional segment, will continue to drive the gains. And if you look at Tata Motors, both Jaguar Land Rover as well as domestic, it has both domestic as well as international direct exposure, will benefit. Auto ancillary companies like Gabriel, these companies are still looking very strong, and I think one can expect significant upside over the next 12 months.
Okay, Gabriel is going to be on our watch list then. Chakri is betting big. He still believes there is a lot of upside that is remaining on such stocks. Chakri, the other thing I wanted to understand is that, we are at the end of the earnings cycle. What really stood out for you in terms of outperformers, or what really stood out as underperformers also in this entire earnings season? Any particular sectors, stocks that you can talk about that, were definitely on the top of your watch list?
The good news is basically after a long time, what drives a nation's growth is infrastructure. And that infrastructure growth is coming back after a very long time. These were precisely the companies which, whether it is, and of course, things like railways and defense were not even talked about 10 years ago. And today, there's so much focus on it, which is actually not just focus, but you're seeing actual order books being converted into revenue. So there you have seen a revenue growth increase in terms of earnings. They've all met or beat estimates as far as earnings is concerned in the current quarter. IT is showing signs of bottoming out because, as US interest rates peak, again, their earnings growth revisions upward will start coming back. Pharma, again, is looking, after a long period, is looking good. Individual companies are gaining orders, new product launches. So I think the thrust will still be manufacturing-led and manufacturing industrials-led. As far as export sectors like IT and pharma, will be watchful in gradually increasing our exposure.
Okay. Mr. Lopriya, where are you investing fresh funds? You've mentioned pharma as one of the sectors, maybe auto ancillaries as well. Where is fresh money going in?
Fresh money is going into still the same old sectors in manufacturing, industrials, because the number of companies that are available. The good news is, while they have the mid caps have outperformed the large caps, still the number of companies who are gaining orders are still in the mid cap. Whether you look at, we had mentioned whether it's auto ancillaries or even in the manufacturing space. These are companies which are, whether it's Bharat Dynamics in the defense sector. Now, and so therefore, the number of companies that will continue to benefit in the manufacturing space, in the broader market, is where we continue to invest in.
Okay, fair enough. Chakri, also wanted to ask you specifically on the PSU banking story. The way it's unfolded, it has surprised so many investors. Every time we thought that, now it's getting too much, it's now getting too overheated. Every time there would be another bout of buying and, another, set of investors who would again start to feel FOMO. How are you looking at the entire PSU banking space? Of course, SBI has started to move late, but now that it has started to move, will it bring in another fresh wave of buying across the board? And is it a story that one should track for the next 6 months to 12 months?
Absolutely, yes. State Bank of India, like as we discussed, valuation and business fundamentals on its side. Clearly, the stock will do well for the next 6 to 12 months. And in the broader market, the Bank of India and Union Bank, while they're in the mid-cap space, are not small banks. They rank amongst the top banks in terms of loan lending in the country. And they have tremendously cleaned up their books, raised capital very recently to strengthen their balance sheet. Their tier 1, tier 2 ratios have also improved dramatically. Their ROAs are now trending up. This is the beginning of the ROA improvement cycle that PSU banks will see. And, because the balance sheets are strong, the loan growth is coming back. The NIMs are kind of at a peak for everyone. Yeah. Now it's a question on, as the interest rates start going down, the loan growth will accelerate, and therefore there will be continued beneficiaries. The valuations are trading under book, and therefore there's sufficient room for a good amount of upside.
Mr. Lokia, let's look at the other part of the market. It constrains me and Sakshi as well to keep on harping on this PSU theme, lest viewers take it as some kind of a investing bias from our side. But we follow price, volume and delivery data, and that is where the action is. I'd like to know your views on the energy space. The OMC setup, record highs on HP, BPCL, as also IOC. ONGC is heading towards that. Oil India is buzzing with gains. How are you looking at this sector? Is it overheated in price, or is it undervalued in terms of how investors have ignored it for 12-15 years? What are your thoughts?
Indeed, investors have ignored it for a very long time. And today, all these companies have a new tailwind. They're all, whether you talk about BPCL or IOCL, these companies are now beginning to expand even into trying to make forays into the renewable energy space, whether it is in smart metering or various aspects that they're getting into. BPCL's valuations are still pretty much on its side. I think the fear of marketing margins being given away, that risk is kind of going down, with oil prices kind of stable in the last couple of months, and that has provided greater comfort. IOCL valuations are clearly still attractive. Even though Oil India has run up, I still think there is still the sufficient amount of upside in both Oil India as well as ONGC. ONGC, of course, is actually borders on close to being a value stock because you have the valuation parameters are very much in its favor. Now, as some amount of volume growth comes back in ONGC, I think that stock will do well.
Okay. Chakri, what we'll do is we'll take a very quick break, and when we return, we will open up with the pre-opening trades and more discussion to follow. Stay with us, viewers.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe for multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines, and many other sectors.
Celebrate 32 years of leadership in business news with Business Today. From the groundbreaking AI cover of Sundar Pichai to PM Modi's exclusive on G20, we redefine headlines. Now our 32nd anniversary issue explores India 2029, The 5-year agenda with industry titans sharing exclusive insights. So, just BT it for unparalleled perspectives. Business Today, 32 years of leadership, innovation, and business brilliance. Subscribe now.
Welcome back to Market Today. Let's look at pre-open trades. It's a nice green start on a fresh Monday morning as far as Nifty is concerned. 57 points higher, 22,096. The index is now aiming at a record high of 22,124. Let us see whether it happens today or during this week. It's only a matter of time. Let's look at what are contributing to the green side. Okay, for a change, HDFC Bank is in fine fettle, 19 rupees higher at 1439. Let's look at Infosys, 0.5% higher, 1710. Let's look at Reliance. Now this is in a bit of a pain, 2% lower at 2864. So if Reliance even levels out of this pain point, you will see a record high in the markets today. Let's look at Tata Motors, 1.2% higher, 950. How about SBI? 1% higher. The rally continues unabated, 762. A fresh strong breakout happening on SBI. So the mood in the index heavyweight space is fairly good. 8 out of 10 stocks in this space are in the green. Reliance is leveling out, like I said, absolutely flat, 29.19, and it has immediately contributed 20 additional points to the Nifty. The Nifty is now up 84 points, 21,125, 22,125. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be opening at a record high today. That is what the pre-open trades are telling us. Now, let's shift focus immediately to the FNO space minus the index heavyweights, and let's look at what's buzzing. BPCL 3.7% higher, 679. Tata Power 3.6% higher, 390. Balrampur Chini 3.4% higher, 384. What else is in the green? We'll shift focus to NSE 500 and let's see what's buzzing. Okay, we have CRISIL. This is earnings led, 6.3% higher, 4,900. We have PTMS, Sakshi was pointing out, 5% higher, 358.35. Let's look at the PSU basket, which often interests us on the long side. Okay, Life Insurance Corporation 2.5% higher, 1,065. Indian Bank 2% higher, 528. BEL 1.4% higher, 191. NHPC 1.6% higher, 94.35. Sakshi, these are the pre-opens. Fairly decent move and possibly a record high before 12 as far as the Nifty is concerned. Sakshi.
Absolutely, a whole host of stocks that are doing well again. So you have CRISIL that's moving up about 5-6% higher in trade. Then you also have Novartis India that's opening very sharply higher. There is some kind of a buzz, which is not confirmed reports for sure, that probably Dr. Reddy's may be looking to buy a huge stake in Novartis India. So that's going to be in focus. That stock, Minda Corp, is in focus. I think about 4.5% equity has exchanged hand right in the pre-opening trade, so you can look at Minda Corp about 4% higher, 422. These are the stocks that I'm watching out for. Of course, apart from this, NHPC, I think Shell already mentioned. Of course, there is this news flow that it has led foundation stone for 300 megawatt grid connected solar PV project in Rajasthan, so about 0.5% higher in trade. Tata Power, let's look at that one. It's got a letter of intent. I think it's opening 4% higher in the pre-opening trades. From REC Power Development. That's the one we are looking at. These are some of the stocks that are buzzing in trade. I think 2.5% higher for this one as well. Let's look at Balrampur Chini. The board has approved foray into manufacturing polylactic acid to be used in the production of bioplastic, and the board has approved an investment of 2,000 crores, of which 800 crores will actually come from the internal accruals and the rest via debt over a period of next 2.5 years. And the project is expected to be completed in about the next 30 odd months as well. So those are the kind of stocks that I'm watching out for. Chakri, anything that strikes you at the market opening, that something that could be a trend for the next medium to long term?
That we discussed about. One is BPCL, second is SPI, third is some of these auto and auto ancillary names. I think that as a trend will, and let's say the defense names, Bharat Electronics, Bharat Dynamics. These are not one-day trades. I think this as a trend for a investment is we will continue to reward investors over
So please
the
look at
coming.
message.
Okay. Right. So those are the stocks that you're watching out for. We are just waiting for our other guest also to join in. Akshay Bhagwat, Senior Vice President Derivatives Research at JM Financials. He'll also be joining us very, very shortly. All right. He is with us. Very good morning to you, Akshay. Good to have you with us on this special edition. 22,109 currently in the pre-opening trades for the Nifty. How would you look at the Nifty and the Nifty Bank for this entire week? Are we looking at newer highs? And then how would you advise investors to trade?
Good morning, Sakshi. Well, it's I believe, the fourth attempt which now Nifty is making to successfully break past the all-time high levels. The data points are positive here. Technically, the momentum is strong. Most of the stocks, especially the blue chip stocks, are also participating, and the breakout looks inevitable as the current data reading goes. So if we have the Nifty breaking past 22,125 and sustaining above it, then possibly we are heading for targets till 22,300. That's the first target, and 22,450, which is the second target. Now, clearly, the support zone of 22,000 is defined, and till the Nifty sustains about 22,000, we can work with the targets which I mentioned.
Okay. Good morning to you, Akshay, and a very warm welcome on Market Today. What are the two stocks that you would look forward to in this kind of a blowout rally?
Good morning, Shailji. So here, the couple of stocks which are on my watch list from a buy perspective. First is Tata Consumer. Now, if you look at Tata Consumer, it's been in a range since long, and the way the charts are playing out, my sense is that it's in an accumulation stage, and you might see a breakout soon in the stock, which can see a powerful momentum regain in Tata Consumer. So I would recommend to buy Tata Consumer. It closed at around 1148 on the prior trading session. Your stop loss would be around 1125, and you can work with a target till 1200. The second stock here is Bharti Airtel, which I would recommend. It has been subdued, been consolidating slowly. Support of 1100 is working out from a short-term perspective. It's just time that the stock launches itself. So work with targets till 1175 with a stop loss of 1097.
Okay.
Okay. Sakshi, I'll also mark Policy Bazaar. There is a reason behind it. The regulatory authority of the insurance space has now given a composite license to Policy Bazaar. So they have actually upgraded the company in terms of the kind of business it can do additionally. Therefore, you see a 5.8% uptick in Policy Bazaar at about 985.40. What all is moving apart from that? Let's look at the defense space. There is news of additional 81,000 crores worth of government mandated purchases from PSU government companies. HAL is opening 21 rupees higher, 3,099. We have a fairly strong uptick coming in BDL, 1% higher, 1727. BEML, 1% higher, 3159. Akshay, coming to you, any favorites within the defense pack?
Yes. So from the defense pack, as you mentioned, there is a strong flow of news. And if we were to speak about how Hindustan Aeronautics is placed on the charts, a very strong chart structure has been in a sideways consolidation since last 1 to 1.5 months. But one thing is clear, that the support of 2900 is set, and the stock is now launching itself for a move up to 3300. So a very positive chart structure, which I understand in HAL, and you can consider buying it for a targets of 3300 plus.
Okay, so that's as far as the defense pack is concerned. Bringing Chakri into the conversation as well. Chakri, any particular favorites in the defense stocks that even now you believe has enough steam that could be tracked for a long term?
HAL looks good, and so does Bharat Dynamics. Bharat Dynamics has a number of what do you call revenue streams which will benefit from the defense announcements that have been made. And to begin with, its order book itself was very strong, and its valuations are still pretty much on the side. So Bharat Dynamics.
Okay, HAL and Bharat Dynamics, your preference right there. Let's look at the railway pack again. Titagarh Rail Systems, the one that I pointed out, has got an order from the Ministry of Defense for procurement of 250 specialized wagons, has really led the stock to shoot up higher, 6.5% now up in the pre-opening trade, 1,019 for this one. Akshay, what would you really say? Would you chase this momentum for this one?
This stock has seen a strong round of profit booking, and as you mentioned, there is a positive news flow in the script. So a gap up scenario is what we are dealing with. It's more of a momentum trade I would be interested in, because chart structure is suggesting that there might be a positional trade here. So I would target around 1075 in Titagarh Rail System. So intraday or a short term trade definitely works for me. You can buy it at opening on the positive news flow. One thing is sure, the support of 950 is set. So consider buying this, stop loss below 950 and target 1075.
Okay, Chakri, any preferences in the railway pack?
Okay.
Railway pack, I think, both Jupiter Wagons and Titagarh continue to look good, for all the good old reasons of continued order flow, as well as new order flow. I think these are stocks which will look good.
Okay. Akshay, the perennial question which the market is asking, has State Bank of India replaced HDFC Bank in terms of being the top alpha male on the Bank Nifty? Chakri has already answered that question, but we will look for your independent view.
Yes, if you were to look at the way the price momentum has kicked in State Bank lately, it's a surprise that State Bank has moved such a strong momentum from 600 to almost 750 just in a matter of a few days. So yes, HDFC Bank, clearly the momentum is off, being oversold from the chart trading parameters. It is staging a rebound. But if you were to compare the couple of charts from a technical medium term to long term perspective, clearly State Bank of India has a very strong advantage over HDFC Bank. I foresee targets of 850, 900 plus in State Bank. So State Bank would be my preference if we were to work with banks going ahead.
Okay. Right. Chakri, one very important stock that I missed discussing in the stocks to watch list is Quest Corp. Now, the board over here has approved composite scheme of arrangement providing for the demerger of Quest Corp into 3 independent listed entities. This has led for the stock to shoot 12% higher in the pre-opening trade. Tell us, how would you view this development for all the investors at large? What would this mean? At 564, we're looking at an opening about 13% higher for this one.
This is clearly a very positive development for Quest Corp. The company has been kind of undervalued, bogged down because of different types of businesses which are all in the same entity. Now that you have 3 different entities which are going to be they're going to be a demerger of 3 different entities. I think on one hand the staffing business, then the IT business, and then the security business. And these businesses, if you compare them to valuations of its peer groups, I think even after this 12% rise, still Quest Corp looks good. I think there's still sufficient amount of upside left on the cards.
Let's look at some other prices now that we are just about 30 seconds away from what is going to be a fairly decent opening. 22,100 is what the Nifty is poised at, just 24 points below its all-time high. Okay, we have a start, ladies and gentlemen, 22,093 for the Nifty, 36 points higher. Nifty Bank 98 points higher. The IT index is flat. The Nifty 500 has opened 55 points higher. Very quickly, let's look at what are the contributing factors to Nifty's uptick. Reliance 11 rupees higher, 29.31. This is good. HDFC Bank 14.23 in the green about 4 rupees higher. This is good. What is Infosys doing? Is flat 1703. So the top 3 index heavyweights are in the green. Let's look at SBI. It's 2 rupees higher, 756. So a bit of a flat trade. What's clicking in terms of percentage rise in the index heavyweights? ITC 0.4% higher, 406.20. Okay, Reliance is gaining strength, 13 rupees higher, 29.33. Okay, Bajaj Finance in the green, 22 rupees higher. A bit of a flat trade. The 2 corporate banks, Axis Bank is flat, 1066. ICICI Bank is also not doing anything, 1025, 2 rupees higher. What's taking it away on the Nifty 500? Let's look at it that way. Quest Corp 14% higher, 570. Policy Bazaar 5% higher, 978. Paytm Circuit 5% higher, 358. LIC 4% higher, 1084. What else is sticking in the NFO? Balrampur Chini 3.5% higher, 384. Bajaj Auto, Sakshi 2% higher, now 8500. Tata Power 382.35, 1.5% higher. What's on the losers side? Nothing to worry about at all. Akshay, coming to you very quickly, what has gained your interest in this opening course? So far flat, but it's looking in terms of strength. One more stock I'll mark, Natco Pharma 1081. This is about 3-4% higher in terms of gains. Akshay.
Yeah. So looking at the opening, we are almost near a breakout zone for the Nifty index. So it's just a matter of time when the breakout happens. As far as the stock specific or the sector specific action goes, FMCG sector is one sector you can look forward to. That sector is possibly would stage a reversal soon. Maybe it might happen in the day trades itself. So in FMCG pack, you can look at HUL, ITC, the consumer packs like Tata Consumer, because these are heavily off momentum, oversold. I believe there is going to be a recovery in these stocks. So my view would be to keep FMCG stocks on your buy list if you're a day trader or a carry forward trader.
Okay, FMCG stocks to be in focus, and Tata Consumer is the top pick that Akshay shared with us before the markets open, and 0.6% higher. It is opening at around 1155. Let's look at a few more movers. So you have Novartis India, that's opening amidst this buzz of a stake purchase by Dr. Reddy's, and so 10% higher for this one. Dr. Reddy's, on the other hand, is just about a percent or so higher in trade. Titagar Rail, of course, after that order inflow, is opening about 7% higher in trade. You have Balrampur Chini, again, because of the stocks in focus list, we had talked about the news flow, 4% higher for this one. Tata Power is opening about 1.5% higher in trade. CRISIL is up about 4% higher on the back of earnings again. These are some of the stocks that have moved up in the early trade. Chakri, to you. Anything on Novartis have you heard? Could you give us a sense if you have got any clarification from anywhere?
No, I'm sorry. That's not a company which I'm up to date.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's now talk about the FMCG stocks with you, since Akshay is really talking, betting big on this one. This is one space that has not moved. Chakri, do you really see value coming back, and investors now picking up this as a sector of focus?
Yeah, FMCG clearly has the volumes have disappointed and the margins have disappointed. But being good companies, their valuations are kind of been intact. I think now we have to wait and see for the volumes to start coming back in the next quarter and the following. So that, I think, is still a wait and watch mode, is how I would look at FMCG. But so I think that's the approach I would do.
Okay. Sakshi, my apologies to interrupt you. Akshay, is there anything you want to do on Natco Pharma? This is really climbing at a very decent uptick. There is a tailwind on the pharma, and now a digit change, 1103. Your view on Natco Pharma?
Yes, a very strong momentum surge since last week in Natco Pharma, and the sense is that the charts are pointing out it is heading for its all-time high of 1200, which we saw somewhere way back in July 21. So that's the targets one should be working with. Chase the momentum, even if the momentum is off a bit in day trades, it cools down, buy again. My target is 1200, support is 1050. So a positive view which I maintain on Natco Pharma.
Okay, and Sakshi, it's actually a pharma day. Okay, let's look at how the index is poised. You've marked Novartis, I've marked Biocon and Natco. Pharma is the top index gainer, 1% higher, 19,063. Needless to say, this is a record high. Out of the 20 index based pharma stocks, 18 are in the green. And that's how, ladies and gentlemen, you have this blowout that's happening
Recording in progress.
many stocks. What we'll do is, let's look at the Nifty Pharma Index in a bit of detail. Okay, what are the stocks that are buzzing as far as pharma is concerned? We've discussed Biocon. Akshay, your view on Biocon?
So yes, pharma is looks like the flavor for the day and short term, and Biocon has strongly emerged from the demand area from 260 to 270. Very strong buying combined with delivery. Broadly, if you look at trading parameters, 310 is where it is heading for. But my sense is if you give some time to this trade, probably a medium term view with a 1.5 2 month perspective, it's a possible double bottom which has been confirmed, which gives you a target till 350. So positionally, I would be working with targets of 350, short term 310 is the target, positive view on Biocon.
Okay.
Let's also, yes, actually yours.
No, just wanted to ask, Chakri is on pharma itself, stocks like even Wockhardt, the ones that have been like lying low, have started to inch higher in trade. How would you really look at such stocks now?
We're talking about Natco. I think Natco looks really good, given that, the stock, it has a lot of fundamentals on this going on inside. So I would go with Biocon and Natco.
Okay. Shail, the other stock that you constantly marked, I think last week, is back in focus, and that's from the energy space, MRPL. Up about, very, very sharply, I think 13 odd percent higher in trade in the last 5 odd sessions. Hold your breath, 50% is what the stock has moved up in just last 1 week. Chakri, first to you. We were talking about the energy stocks, MRPL. How would you look at this one?
MRPL after this run up is still a very attractively valued stock. It's got business momentum finally coming back on its side. And I think, valuations were never the question for some of these companies. And MRPL at current levels, I think there's a good another 20-25% upside based on current valuations.
Okay, what about Akshay? Can you also suggest a target price that you're looking at on MRPL?
Yes, actually, a clearly blowout move in MRPL. I mean, 50% plus returns happening just in a very short term duration is what surprises me. Probably 290 is where it is heading for, but if you're taking a fresh buy trade, it is clearly out of comfort. I would give it some time to cool off. Probably 250, 55 would give me comfort to re enter a buy trade. If you're holding it, 290 plus, roughly 290, 295 is your target area for MRPL.
Okay. All right. So that's as far as MRPL is concerned. Let's point out two more stocks. One is Minda Corp. Again, there is a huge large deals that's happening on the street, and therefore you see the stock up in trade. It's now 6.5% higher. On the other hand, I think Sula Vineyards, there is a 14% equity exchange that's happened, and the stock is trending down, 5.5% lower in trade as of now. Just wanted to point out these two stocks. So, Akshay, would you have a view on either of these?
Solar Vineyards, a slightly consolidation phase, more of a time correction. Broader charts are still positive, but a 550, 560 is the support zone. Ideally, a good buy candidate if you get around those support zones. If you're holding the stock, yes, continue to hold. I believe 700 should be revisited within the next 1.5, 2 months. So positive chart structure. It's just that some time may be spent in the consolidation phase. Hold the stock for targets of 700.
Sakshi, what we'll do is we'll take just a detour in the market. Let's look at some prices. Let's mark some market action. Okay, Nifty is 31 points higher, nothing much happening there. Let's see what happens beyond 12. Now let's look at the Adani pack. I think there is some action on the long side. Yes, we track 10 Adani stocks for you, and 9 of them are in the green. Let's start with Adani Wilmar. 4% higher, 361. Adani Enterprises 2% higher, 3287. Adani Total 7% higher, 1023. Adani Green 1.4% higher, 1932. Now the reason why I mark this is that Ambuja Cement, also a part of the Adani stable, is doing fairly well. Last time I saw the price was 592, at the moment flat at 589. This is a stock that one needs to look at. What else is buzzing which might attract trader attention? Okay, nothing that I'd like to mark in particular. PSU pack, this is where action is. Sakshi's marked MRPL. I don't want to sort of fuel your FOMO feeling, but still it's 15% higher. It was 20% higher on Friday. Okay, RVNL 7% higher, 269.90. We have Chennai Petro running not exactly neck and neck with MRPL, but still 998. We'll have a digit change on Chennai Petro, 5% higher. The oil pack, Oil India 595.65, fresh record high, 390. 3.9% higher. Shipping Corporation 3% higher, 235. IRFC and Aircon 2.5% higher. So Sakshi, you just might have a flat opening on the Nifty, 35 points higher. The point I'm trying to make is that there is enough and more action beyond the market. Look at the NSE 500. It's 60 points higher. But what's interesting is that out of 500, 322 stocks are in the green. Let's look at the Nifty Mid Cap 100 index. Out of 100 stocks, 67 are in the green, and ditto for small cap index, 67 stocks are in the green out of 100. Sakshi, what are you watching?
I was just clearly watching the entire oil and gas space that is in the thick of action right now. But you clearly pointed out the pharma space as well. Apart from NACO, it's Solara Active Pharma, that's up 3%. Healthcare Global, that's up 2.5%. You have GSK Pharma, Subin Life Sciences, SMS Pharma, the entire pack. Especially the mid-cap pharma names that are coming back into action as well. Unichem Labs, Shalby, Dr. Reddy's, they're all buzzing in trade. So it is clearly turning out to be a pharma kind of a day as of now. Those are the pockets that are buzzing in trade. Chakri, any particular sector that now afresh that you believe should be on the radar of investors at this point in time? We've seen sectoral rotation take place for the last 1 year. Nearly all sectors have had their turn and moved. What now will take your focus?
Indeed, I've been thinking about metals as a positional investment. And,
Okay.
on the line things like simply because, while China still continues to be providing weak data, I think, the stocks are also kind of reflecting that lack of that business momentum. But, Hindalco on the large cap and, Lloyd's Metal and Energy in the mid cap, these companies look okay for a positional investment because the valuations are on their side. If you look at a company like Hindalco trades at about 5 times EV/EBITDA, or in the case of Lloyd's Metal and Energy, that trades at under 4 times. It has a 4,000 crore the EBITDA that is coming in, debt-free company. So I think there we have to look for value picks. It would be my approach.
Okay. All right. Let's look at a few more stocks then that are buzzing in trade. Data patterns, that's the one that's moving sharply higher, and this was in momentum. Akshay, I wanted to take your view on data patterns. It's again up about 6.5% in trade today. But if we look at the kind of move that we've been looking at this one, so in the last 5 days odd, it's moved up 18.5%. Last 6 months, of course, it's a decline, but it's the momentum that's taken place in the last 5 odd days. How would you really look at data patterns?
Yeah, so data patterns has regained its lost momentum. A clear double bottom or a consolidation breakout has been noted on the weekly charts at 2100. So that's a positive development on the charts. This 6 weeks consolidation breakout is a positive sign. So I'll be a buyer in data patterns till it trades about 2100 breakout. Your support is 2100 now. The upside target can be 2275. So a positive view, recommend a buy with a stop loss below 2050 in data patterns.
Okay.
Sakshi, let's just sort of look at some other stocks in the Nifty, apart from the usual ones that we mark. I see a lot of unusual movement today. Let's look at the top gainer. No surprise here, Bajaj Auto. Now it's 8,000. Remember, we discussed this in the pre-open trade as well. Akshay marked Bharti Airtel 1.5% higher, 1137. Coal India 1.2% higher, 485. I'd rather look at the all-time highs that are getting made because that shows momentum. Okay. I think it's Farmers Day. Sanofi is at an all-time high, 91.45. Mr. Chakri, coming to you. We never discuss, stocks like Sundaram Finance, 3.5%. In my, limited life of about 27 years in the market, I have never seen a stock and a balance sheet like Sundaram Finance. There is some move to include it in one of the global indices, and that's the reason that you see 4,000 rupees on this one. Would you want to comment on this, how should I say, undervalued and underappreciated gem?
Shailendraji, I think you're absolutely bang on target. The company is an excellently run company, very long history of running its books really well, very strong balance sheet, and it will also what you call benefit now from the current cycle of increased manufacturing activity, therefore leading to increased need for commercial vehicle financing, etc. All those various components which will benefit as a result, and they're clearly being included in a new index is an additional positive. But the business fundamentals are clearly very strong for the company. It has always silently delivered on its results, and I think clearly I would definitely accumulate at current levels.
Okay. Akshay, would you have a technical view as well on Sundaram Finance?
Yeah. So Sundaram Finance is trading around 4,000 and the chart structure is pretty strong. The momentum has regained very strongly in this month, and the belief is that the stock is heading for 40 to 50 targets. So that's the target area I would be comfortable working with. 4 to 50 time horizon, maybe around a month. The support area is 3,900. So with a stop loss of 3,850 on a positive chart structure, continue to hold or buy Sundaram Finance with a target of 4 to 50.
Okay, so that's as far as
Actually, what's really interesting is that Sundaram Finance is one of those blue chip stocks that you don't look at in terms of price target kya aaya, कल क्या होगा या एक महीने बाद क्या होगा. This is buy, hold, forget. It's one of those things that you keep in your almirah if you have a physical share, but if you have in demat, put it under lock and key and leave it for the next generation. I have spoken to a lot of people on Sundaram Finance, and they come out with very, very strong opinions on the positive side in terms of how the management looks at business, how it treats its balance sheet, and how it also treats its customers. So that is something that one needs to look at. Let me just share some more documentation on Sundaram Finance. It is one of those tragedies in life that we are always looking at price action, and
Exactly.
we know the price of almost every stock, but the value of nearly nothing. So why don't you mark a couple of stocks? I'll give you some
No,
great
in
data
fact, you
on
brought out a very important
Sundaram
point,
Finance till
and
then.
let's discuss that further with Chakri. How Shell was pointing out, there are rarely those stocks that we mark on an everyday basis because we are so in touch with momentum and price action that we forget to time and again mark about some of the stocks that investors need to, invest in and put away for the next generation, for wealth creation purpose for the next generation. Do you have any other stocks in mind that are like Sundaram Finance, that you like such stocks? We were talking to Gaurang on the other day, and he mentioned L&T as one of his favorite stocks that he would say that is a generational stock. Which is your top bet when it comes to generational stocks?
Among the large cap, State Bank of India, the largest bank in this country, probably makes 1 in 5 loans of all loans that are made across the country, and with continued market leadership. So that's one stock which will benefit from the economic growth this country will see. So SBI.
SBI, that's a wonderful pick over there. So there you have it, apart from Sundaram Finance. Yes, sure.
So Sakshi, hold your breath. For 10 years, I'm talking about 10 years CAGR. So each year, I again repeat, an undervalued and underappreciated gem has risen each year. I'm talking about Sakshi 21%.
Wow.
Chup chap. And that's the CAGR. And the price to book is just 3.93. It is very close to its 10-year price to book. If you look at the chart and remove the last 3-4 days price action, you would be surprised to know that Sundaram Finance was trading below its 10-year price to book. So this is the kind of wealth that goes a begging on the market. We are always interested in what IREDA is doing. We are always interested in what IRFC is doing. But we are not interested in buying and holding these wonderful gems. If there were any other NBFC companies, actually, if it had got added on that index, no, it would have been up 11%. Yes, Sundaram Finance है जो सिर्फ 3% बढ़ा हुआ है.
Wonderful. Well, on that note, Chakri, we'll thank you for being with us on this very special edition and sharing with us at least 4 times in this last half an hour is what you mentioned, SBI, and we will keep a keen eye on SBI even going forward up until the next time we meet on Market Today as well. Sundaram Finance now a sharp spike amid the kind of discussion that we've had, about 4% higher in trade, and we'll keep an eye on both of these stocks right now. 5% higher now, Shell, for you, because you were just saying that it is 3% up. It's listening to you clearly. Okay, then let's take a break. At this note, ladies and gentlemen, when we return, we will continue our discussion with Akshay on the other side, some of the other big movers on the street, and where exactly should you keep your focus. Stay with us.
Marvin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe for multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines, and many other sectors.
Celebrate 32 years of leadership in business news with Business Today. From the groundbreaking AI cover of Sundar Pichai to PM Modi's exclusive on G20, we redefine headlines. Now our 32nd anniversary issue explores India 2029, the 5-year agenda, with industry titans sharing exclusive insights. So, just BT it for unparalleled perspectives. Business Today, 32 years of leadership, innovation, and business brilliance. Subscribe now. In today's rapidly evolving business environment, when risk is omnipresent, managing risks is no longer just about ticking a few boxes. Businesses need to maintain a panoramic view of risks to stay ahead of the curve. Join us to explore how organizations can rethink risk to unlock new possibilities and become fit for future. At PwC presents De-Risking the Future in collaboration with Business Today.
Welcome back. You're watching Market Today on Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra, with me Shail Bhatnagar, and we are in conversation with Akshay Bhagwat, who's helping us navigate through the market strategies as well as pick up some exciting stocks for you to really invest in. The next stock, Akshay, that I looked at while the break was on is Redington. It's hit an all-time high level. Shall I briefly remember that you also had marked this stock sometime last week again. This stock has really shot up sharply, about 10% higher now, 217 odd currently. Would you look at the chart and tell us, Akshay, what do you really see in this one? Of course, there was the commentary that was positive from the company that is looking at a double-digit revenue growth for next year that came in about a week or so ago. How would you look at the stock?
Redington India definitely is a very strong momentum stock. If you look at the way the momentum is in the stock, it's been a one-way mover right from 145 to 217 where it currently stands. Chart structure setup is absolutely very strong, possibly setting up for a move of 250 plus. Weekly charts are strong. Today there is a breakout, all-time high levels being seen on this chart. So 205 is the support I would be working with, and 250 is the target with a time horizon of around 15 trading sessions.
Okay. Sakshi, I think Sundaram Finance has taken it to heart. Dil pe le liya. 4110. And it's doing pretty well. And about time. See, Sakshi, the thing is that, people want to buy and sell every 1 second, but nobody wants to sort of buy something quality and leave it for the next generation. They will buy a subpar asset, flat khareed ke rakh lenge, in the outskirts of some village. They will buy physical gold and lock it up, but they will not buy actual gold. Actual gold is companies like Sundaram Finance, which appreciate so well over a long period of time, and you really don't have to be worried about the management. They know their business, they do it very conservatively, and they do it phenomenally well. Ladies and gentlemen, while I talk positively about Sundaram Finance, should you wish to buy it, please consult your independent financial advisor. I have seen this stock over the last 27, 30 years, and each time it has ridden the CV cycle, the commercial vehicle cycle, in some fantastic format. But like I said, should you wish to purchase, take an independent view, independent financial view from an advisor. and it is at a record high. It brings in with itself all the issues when it comes to buying a stock at a record high. I normally prefer to buy it below 200 DMA, but that is not coming for a very long time, and this is how pricing is moving today. It is news led. Sundaram Finance will be included in one of those global indices, and therefore you see this run up, Sakshi.
Let's look at the top volume buzzers at this point in time. Some of the stocks that we mentioned, CRISIL is 7% higher at 4,950 odd levels, 7.4% higher in trade, clearly on the back of sharp volumes. Minda Corp, that's up, of course, because of the stake purchase, 4.5% equity has exchanged hands. That one has moved up sharply. Apart from this, data patterns, that's moving with sharp volumes, 4.5% higher in trade right now for data patterns as well, 2,112 right now for data patterns. The other stock is RVNL. Shell pointed out 6.5% higher, 268 right now for this one as well. Quest Corp, we had mentioned, there is a clear news flow that the company is looking to demerge into three companies, and that's led the stock to move up 11% higher, 555 right now for Quest Corp as well. These are some of the top volume buzzers that I can spot in this current market as well. While Balrampur Chini 4.6% higher, 389 currently on the back of news flow again. Dixon Technologies is moving up, 6,559 currently. These are the other stocks that are moving up on the back of sharp volumes that are being seen in the markets as well. Bajaj Auto share you had mentioned is now 3.5% higher, 8,617. Clearly no stopping for this two-wheeler major at this point in time. Well, anything else that caught your eye?
Yes, Sakshi, and let's remember Mr. Chokalingam with a lot of fondness. Remember how difficult it is to get a stock price out of him, a stock idea out of him. He mentioned Nesco, and he mentioned Nesco on what date? I write all this thing down. Okay, he mentioned it on Valentine's Day, and look at Nesco today. He mentioned it at 832. It's at 914 rupees. Wow. So this is something you can look at. He mentioned it as again an undervalued unit because people are not really understanding the business flow as far as Nesco is concerned. Akshay is with us. Akshay, would you want to comment on what Nesco is doing? Oh, he's left. Okay, no problems. So Nesco is there in front of you, 914, 915. This is a quasi real estate play. They have a huge exhibition ground at Goregaon. Sakshi, that place has a lot of buildings as well, which are given on rent, as also it's the exhibition heart of Mumbai, just as Pragati Maidan was for Delhi at some point of time, and very smart move coming on that one. I think we'll have to mark a couple of PSU stocks as well now. I generally try and avoid these momentum plays because we don't want to give an impression that they are the ones that you should be climbing. It becomes very difficult to sort of look at a trade when it's going against you. 5% higher on SGVN, 126, fairly strong move coming in. NHPC 5% higher, 97.50. We have the three shipping stocks. Mazgaon 2% higher, Cochin Shipyard 2.2% higher, and Garden Reach Shipbuilders 2% higher. That's moving. Let's look at what are the stocks that are slipping in the PSU basket. GMDC 2% higher. The market has not taken its fall in earnings very well. It happened about a week ago. Midhani 2% higher, lower, 413. Can Bank has showing some profit booking, much required, 1.4% lower at 577. You have HUDCO 1.2% lower, 196.20. IREDA, thankfully, 1.2% lower, 175.80. HPCL, Bank of Baroda, Union Bank also undergoing bouts of profit booking, about 0.5% lower each. Sakshi.
Okay, then let's look at one stock that I was looking at. This is from the small cap space, Skipper. Q3 came out about a week ago, and since then the stock has been clearly in focus. If you look at the last 5 days move, it's moved up 29%. And currently, again in trade today, the stock has moved up very sharply. I think intraday it was a 12% kind of a surge that we saw on Skipper Limited. Let's look at some of the earnings. So the profit jumped 115% to over 20.5 crores for this one, and the order inflow was 400 crores odd for the year to date basis. The same was 3,145 crores, and there has been a strong execution on the back of which the company has been very positive in terms of the commentary that the company has made on the earnings front. So Skipper is one stock that one should look at. I will continue to watch out for this one. The other space that we have to keep an eye out is the primary market space, which again will be a buzz with action this week. There will be two main board IPOs that will be opening. The first one I'm looking at is GPT Healthcare. That set its price band at 177 rupees to 186 rupees for its IPO. That's opening on February 22nd. Now, and of course, the Kolkata-based hospital chain GPT Healthcare, will be in focus because it's going to be raising about 40 odd crore rupees from the fresh issue, and through OFS about 2.5 crores rupees odd. And with the upper end, the company will in total raise about 485 odd crore rupees, and the total market cap as of now stands at 1500 odd crores. About 30 odd crore rupees of the fresh issue of the proceeds to be used for repayment of the debt, and the rest will be used for general corporate purposes. That's going to be in focus. From the primary market action as well. So I'll be keeping an eye out on that too. Anything else, Shell, that you're looking at? I'm looking at Sula Vineyards. The stock was down about 5-6% when there was a 14% exchange in equity that was
Yes.
mentioned early in the trade. But right now, I think there is a move on the upside. Let's look at this one. I think it's recovered. No, it's still down about 6.5, 7%, 574 currently for this one. These are the particular stocks that were on my radar share.
Sakshi, what we'll do is we'll point out unusual stocks. Look at Dixon Technologies. We seldom discuss this one, and that's mainly because the price ticket is very high. But at 65.53, not only is the stock up 2%, but what has happened is that we are at 9:53, so 45 minutes of trade gone. 40 minutes of trade gone. The volume has exceeded in the past 45 minutes the 5-day average. So one needs to watch this. Let's also look at, you've marked Quest, I won't mark it. Titagarh. Again, there is a breakout on volume accompanied by rise in price. So Titagarh is 1007, and 1007 essentially means it's up about 5%, and about 117 crores worth of transactions is done, and that's more than the 5-day average in the first 45 minutes of trade. These are the kind of moves, ladies and gentlemen, you should look out for, where you have a price and a volume breakout, and a breakout over 5-day average, which essentially means that people are buying. That is also you should be looking at. Sakshi.
Okay, let's look at a few stocks that are at fitting fresh highs. Granules India, about 2.5-3% higher now, 468. That's the one that's moving at a fresh all-time high level as well. As of course is Minda Corp, and of course Bajaj Auto, Reddington. These are the stocks that are hitting fresh all-time highs in trade today. Some of it is backed by the news flow, the kind of momentum that we are looking at. Let's look at the top Nifty gainers then. Dr. Reddy's, Bharti Airtel, Tata Consumer Products was mentioned by Akshay. Nestle is moving up as part of the Nifty stocks that are moving up in trade right now. Let's further look at some of the other stocks that are moving up. So you have SBI, that's at 756. Of course, that's clear mentioned by Chakri as a long-term generational stock that will continue to move up. CRISIL is a mid-cap gainer. Of course, on the back of sharp earnings improvement, 8% higher. Gujarat Pipavav, mid-cap space, 7% higher, 211 for this one. Wakrangi is moving up 5% higher, 26.3 currently as well. So some of these mid-cap names are doing well at this point in time. And apart from this, let's look at, and in fact, the mid-cap index is now half 4% higher at 49,385 odd levels. Even the small caps, they're doing well. 0.8% of an improvement can be seen on this one. The Nifty Bank is flattish with a positive trade. The financial services space is just about 0.2% higher. And ONGC, that's 0.5% up in trade as far as the Nifty is concerned. So the focus back on the entire oil and gas space. Coal India is sustaining its upward move, even though BPCL has now slipped into the red from the energy basket. Metals pack was being mentioned by Chakri that he's watching out for this one. Slight lower trade on Tata Steel, however, today on this one. HDFC Bank is flattish. ITC is at 406. Power Grid is a 0.5% higher in trade. This is as far as the Nifty pack is concerned. These are the kind of stocks. Nalco is slightly up in trade from the metals pack. Those are the kind of stocks that I'm watching. Anything else, Shell, that comes to your mind? And before we wind down?
Yes, Sakshi, I think it's a bit of an unusual day. The index itself is flat. I'd just like to mark all-time highs. One must pay attention to where the money is flowing in if the market is flat as well as on the downside. We'll mark stocks that we haven't touched upon. CRISIL, 4,981, 8% higher. Let's look at Granules, 3.5% higher, 471. Let's look at Indian Hotels, 541. Let's look at relatively low priced items. Federal Bank, 165.20, up 0.4%. Reddington, Sakshi is discussed, 8.8% higher, 214. MRPL I won't mark again, but I'm just telling you the price, 272. Chalet Hotels, 852.35. New high. You have a new high on Adani Ports, 1316, about 1% higher. SBI Life, new high, 1489, 1.3% higher. And the others are, in very, very high digits, 4,000, 5,000. I really don't want to mark them, except for maybe Trent, 4,070, 1.1% higher, and Dr. Reddy's, 6,372, 1% higher. Sakshi.
Okay, well, on that note, viewers, we'll wind down this special edition for you, a flattish trade on the index level, but a lot of moving parts in the markets, and we will continue to focus on them. So the Nifty is now in the red, 0.04% lower, 22,032. The Nifty Bank is just flat, holding up just about 0.03% higher in trade. 46,393. That's the level at which the Nifty Bank is moving. We'll track the entire markets for you all through the course of this day. What will also be exciting for you is to join us at 12:30 p.m. when we will have our special Market Masters interview with Ravi Dharamshi, founder and CIO, Value Quest Investment Advisors, on where exactly will money be made now in the markets that we are approaching all-time highs once again. And of course, we've had a stunning rally on the PSU banks, on defense, on railways, PSU stocks at large. But what next now in the markets? If that's the question that you've been asking, you should be joining us for that 12:30 p.m. interview. And with that, we wrap up this special trade. And it's a goodbye from the morning Market Today session from Shell and me. But we will be joining you very soon at 12:30 p.m.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe from multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines, and many other sectors.
Celebrate 32 years of leadership in business news with Business Today. From the groundbreaking AI cover of Sundar Pichai to PM Modi's exclusive on G20, we redefine headlines. Now our 32nd anniversary issue explores India 2029, the 5-year agenda, with industry titans sharing exclusive insights. So, just BT it for unparalleled perspectives. Business Today, 32 years of leadership, innovation, and business brilliance. Subscribe now. In today's rapidly evolving business environment, when risk is omnipresent, managing risks is no longer just about ticking a few boxes. Businesses need to maintain a panoramic view of risks to stay ahead of the curve. Join us to explore how organizations can rethink risk to unlock new possibilities and become fit for future. At PwC presents De-Risking the Future in collaboration with Business Today.
सरकार और किसान संगठनों के बीच बहुत ही अच्छे माहौल में सकारात्मक चर्चा हुई है। किसान संगठनों ने जिन विषयों पर ध्यान आकृष्ट कराया है, संज्ञान में लेते हुए विस्तार पूर्वक चर्चा को हमने करते हुए अगली तिथि रविवार को शाम 6 बजे